Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to or good afternoon, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. This is IMAX Sports with another football video, and today I'm talking about my 2021 AFC North predictions. I did the AFC East yesterday. Today I'm doing the AFC North. My goal is to get all these videos in before the NFL season starts, as well as add some more other videos. I don't know if I'll be able to do daily videos, but that is kind of my goal because I missed a lot of the summer and I missed a lot of the NFL preseason. So I'm going to try and do daily videos, but I don't know if that's going to be able to work out. So I'll do them as long as I can. I will be moving into school on Sunday, so I probably won't be doing a video on Sunday or maybe even Monday, but I'm going to try to get you on most days. So getting right into the video, we're going to start off with the Bengals. The Bengals, I still have as 4th place in the division. I think this division is the strongest division in the NFL, except for maybe the NFC North. But AFC North and NFC North this year, I think, are the two strongest divisions in the NFL. The Bengals didn't have a great season last year, but Joe Burrow was also injured for a lot of the season and was a rookie. I would have the Bengals at a better record. I think the Bengals are better than 7-10, but again, they're playing their own division and they're playing the NFC North. So the AFC and NFC North are playing each other. So I think that the Bengals and Steelers and Browns records are all going to be lower than their actual team is. I think the Ravens record is still going to be just about how good the Ravens are, but Bengals, Browns, and Steelers records are going to be lower than they should be. So starting off with the Bengals, I have them losing to the Vikings week 1. The Vikings are a very questionable team. I think that the Bengals could definitely win that game, but I think that it's Joe Burrow's first week coming back from an injury, and he might not play as well. Week 2 against the Bears, I think they'll have the advantage. It'll be Joe Burrow versus the Bears rookie. I believe it's Trey Lance, but I don't want to be incorrect on that. The Bears actually drafted a quarterback, and I think that he's going to do well, but week 2 is going to be a tough week for him to get into a groove. I think that a lot of the new quarterbacks are going to take a bit to get into a groove. I have them losing out to the Steelers, the Ravens, and the Browns. I don't think that that's going to happen, but that's what I have on my predictions because I think it's more likely that they lose out than for me to predict which splits are correct. I think that they'll lose twice to the Browns and they'll lose twice to the Ravens. I think that they have a chance of splitting with the Steelers, but I really am not sure. I have them beating the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are going to be a dumping ground for a lot of bad teams to get wins off of. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good season for a rookie, but again, he's a rookie, and you can't really do well with the Jaguars team. Their defense is terrible. It was good a couple years ago, but now it's terrible. Their offense is bad, awful. Their offense is awful. Their defense is mediocre at best. Their offense is awful. And to throw Trevor Lawrence in there, I'm not sure it's going to be amazing. I have them losing to the Packers, obviously. The Packers still have Aaron Rodgers, and they're still going to be one of the strongest teams in the league. I have them beating the Lions, who I don't think Jared Goff will be any improvement from Matthew Stafford. I think Stafford's a better quarterback. So I think the Lions are going to get worse, and the Rams are going to get better from that. I have them losing to the Ravens. I have them beating the Jets, obviously. They're clearly better than the Jets. I have them losing to the Browns twice. I have them beating the Raiders, who I think are going to have a terrible season. I think the Raiders are going to go from 7-9 to 5-12 or 4-13. Derek Carr is a very up and down quarterback. Last year, he started off very strong. He fell off midway through the season, and I think that he's going to continue on that fall off this year. Again, I have them losing twice to the Steelers, but I really think that it's going to be a split. I just don't know which game they're going to win, so I didn't really want to predict a win. I thought that the Steelers were more likely to win both than to win one as well, because they did go undefeated for 12 games last year. I think if the Bengals do win against the Steelers, it's more likely it's one of the first games of the season, because they're coming off of the losing streak, the Steelers, and by the middle of the season, the Steelers should be back to normal. Not like winning every game, but not on the massive losing streak they ended up last year. I have them losing to the Chargers, who I think are going to be one of the better teams in the league. I have them beating the 49ers in an upset. I think the 49ers are going to be a fairly strong team, potentially playoff caliber. I think this will be an upset win for them. later in the season, because the 49ers can be weird sometimes. I have them beating the Broncos, who I think are going to be a really weird team this year. I think the Broncos have chances of being decent, but I really don't think they're going to be very good. And then I have them losing the last 3 games of the season to the Ravens, the Chiefs, and the Browns. Ravens and Chiefs both trying to win their division, although I think the Ravens will have a comfortable lead. Chiefs will be fighting for their division with the Chargers at that point of the season. And then week 18, the Browns will be fighting for a playoff spot with the Patriots and the Dolphins. So I think that those 3 games are all going to be high-stakes games, and the Bengals are going to crack under pressure. Next, we have the Steelers at 8-9. I really wanted to find a way to make the Steelers 9-8, but I just couldn't find the way, because they've had 17 winning seasons in a row. I don't really think that they're going to be below 9-8 this year, but I really couldn't find any more games. Unless they split with the Browns, I can't really find any more games to give them. I think that it won't even be close against Buffalo. Buffalo went to the AFC Championship game. The Steelers lost 5 of their last 6 games. Raiders are terrible. The Bengals, again, I have the Steelers winning it against the Bengals, but I think that the Bengals could win that game. The Packers are clearly better than the Steelers. And then the Broncos game, that will be a defensive battle. I think that because of Ben Roethlisberger's experience, he'll be able to figure out the Broncos secondary, and the Steelers will be able to take a win in that game, but that will be a defensive battle. That'll probably be like a 17-3 game. Seahawks, I have them losing to the Seahawks. The Seahawks, I'm not bought on. I was sold on the Seahawks last year. I was sold. Seahawks were going to the Super Bowl. I was decided at the beginning of the year. Now, not so much. I think the Seahawks are. Russell Wilson just can't play in the playoffs. He won a Super Bowl in his first couple of years. He made it to 2 Super Bowls in his first 3 seasons, and then he hasn't really been back. He made it to 1 NFC Championship and lost. So. We'll see how the Seahawks do, but I think they're still stronger than the Steelers. I have them losing out to the Browns. I think the Steelers might be able to upset the Browns once. If someone said that a couple of years ago, then people would think that they're insane. But I think that the Browns could definitely win out against the Steelers this year. So I have them winning both. I have the Bears winning. I have them beating the Bears, and I have them beating the Lions. I don't think either of those teams will be any sort of threat to the Steelers. I have them losing to the Chargers, obviously. I think the Chargers are going to be a 14-3, maybe even 15-2 team. I have them beating the Bengals, losing to the Ravens twice, and their last win of the season being week 14 against the Vikings, and then losing out the rest of the year. I have them losing to the Titans, Chiefs, Browns, and Ravens. And again, just like the Bengals, they're playing the Ravens, the Browns, and the Ravens. The Chiefs, the Browns, and the Ravens the last 3 games of the season. That's a tough way to end the season. And then they have the Titans too. Adding the Titans, the Bengals have the Broncos and the 49ers, but adding the Titans in there, that's a tough way to end the season. And Ravens week 13 too. It's crazy. It's a crazy way to end the season. The Steelers are going to be looking at playoff chances. They'll be 6-5, and then they're going to just fall off. Moving on, we have the Browns season. I have the Browns going 10-7, which is lower than I have the Patriots, but I do believe the Browns are a stronger team. Let me emphasize. I believe the Browns are a stronger team than the Patriots. That's not to say I don't think that they're going to be a higher seed than them. I think that the Browns are going to have a lower seed because they are in a tougher division and they're playing the NFC North. They're going to take a loss to the Chiefs. And they're also playing the AFC. Yeah, they're playing the NFC North, and they're playing the AFC West. They're playing the Packers, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and they have the Cardinals in. I think the Cardinals are the strongest team in the NFC West. I think the Browns have the hardest schedule in the entire league this year, except for maybe the Steelers, because the Steelers have the Seahawks instead of the Cardinals, and they have to play the Browns twice instead of the Steelers. But I think the Browns have one of if not the hardest schedule in the league. They lose to the Chiefs week 1. I don't see them winning that game in any universe. Texans should be the easiest win of the season. I think that they should be able to easily beat the Browns, the Bears, and the Vikings, especially early in the season when the Bears quarterback hasn't developed yet. Chargers, I don't think they'll beat. Again, Chargers and Chiefs, I think, will be fighting for that division, and I don't see them taking a loss to the Browns. The Browns are a good team. I don't see them taking a loss to the Browns. Then the Browns will play the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals. I think that they'll lose that game. I think the Cardinals are going to take the NFC West. Last year we saw a little bit about what the Cardinals can be, and then this year they added J.J. Watt. They added J.J. Watt. I mean, last year we saw what their offense could be. Now this year we'll see what their defense could be. The Cardinals are going to have an insane team. After the Cardinals, we have the Broncos, Steelers, and Bengals, giving the Browns a little bit of a win streak. I think they'll be a very streaky team. Loss, win, win, win. Loss, loss, win, win, win. Again, I think that they're absolutely superior to the Bengals and the Broncos. I think the Steelers could be able to upset the Browns once, as I said previously, but I honestly think it's more likely that the Browns sweep than the Steelers win one game. I have them losing to the Patriots, which would be the deciding factor between which of them is seated higher. And as I mentioned in my video yesterday, I think the Browns have a stronger team, but I think that the Patriots defense would be able to clutch up in an important game like that. Like the Patriots know they're not winning the division. The team knows. The Browns game is going to be one of the most important games of the season because that's one of the teams they're going to be fighting for the wild card. I think that our defense can clutch up in that game, just like we did in the Ravens game last year. We clutched up in the Ravens game. I think we can clutch up in the Browns game. I'm not too confident about that pick, especially not seeing how our quarterback situation is looking right now. But I think our defense is going to be able to carry us in a lot of games, and I think it'll be able to carry us in that one. The Browns, I have beating the Lions. I have them losing 2 games in a row to the Ravens. They are the first team in like 40-something, some absurd amount of years that played the same team twice in a row because there was a bye week in between. Notice how the Ravens have Browns, Steelers, Browns is because there's a bye week in there. There's a bye week between these 2 games. So because of the bye week, they're one of the first teams ever to play the same team twice in a row because of the bye week. So it's actually a really interesting thing. I don't know if any of you knew that. I think they'll lose both games, obviously. The Ravens are better, but they could win one. The Browns beat the Ravens last year, I believe. So I think that they could win one. Raiders, I have them beating the Raiders. The Raiders are going to be bad. I have them losing to the Packers and winning the last 2 games of the season against the Steelers and Bengals to clutch the playoff berth. If they lose to the Steelers, I think it'll be this game. I think it'll be the Week 8 game, not the Week 17 game, because the Week 17 game they're going to need to clinch the playoffs. The Week 8 game will be a less important game, objectively speaking. And last but certainly not least, we have the Baltimore Ravens at 14-3. The only 3 notable games on here are the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Packers. The Ravens schedule just looks easier than the Browns schedule, if just at first glance, because obviously they're not playing the Ravens, and they're playing slightly different teams. So first, the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Packers. Lamar Jackson tends to choke against good teams. I think his first 3 losses of his entire career were all to Patrick Mahomes or something, because he just can't beat the Chiefs. The Chargers, I think, are going to be better than Chiefs, and then the Packers have Aaron. I just think that he's going to choke in the more important games. And then the rest of the schedule is fairly easy compared to the rest of the division. They were also the 3rd seed last year, so the teams that they're playing from the NFC West and from the AFC are slightly easier. So I think they'll beat the Raiders. That'll be an easy win. They'll beat the Lions. That'll be an easy win. They'll beat the Broncos. They're playing the Colts instead of the Titans, who the Steelers have, and the Browns have the Texans, which is trash. But They are playing the Colts. I think that will be an easy win. The Colts quarterback position is messed up. They're going to have a weird season. After losing to the Chargers, they'll win 3 in a row against the Bengals, the Vikings, and the Lions. Not the Dolphins. I don't think any of those teams will really put up. Actually, I have them winning 7 in a row. Followed by the Bears, the Browns, the Steelers, and the Browns again. That's a lot of divisional games. I think that they'll destroy their division, 6-0. The Vikings and the Bears, I don't see putting up a fight, and the Dolphins could win, but that would be a defensive battle if they did. I think that the winner of that game is going to win like 24-17 or something. It's going to be a low-scoring game. Middle of the low, though. They might score a little bit on offense. And then after the Packers game, they're going to win out to clinch the division and not a first-round bye. The winner of the AFC West will be 15-2, and they will get the first-round bye. Whether it's the Chiefs or the Chargers, I'm not sure which one. I think the Chiefs and Chargers will split. I haven't figured out who I think is winning that division yet, but whoever wins that division, I think, is going to end up with the number 1 spot. And then the Rams, are going to have a strong team. I could see the Ravens taking an L to the Rams and going 13-4. I could see that. I think that this is the most likely game that they lose that I don't have them losing right now. But yeah. Right now I have the Bengals at 7-10. Steelers at 8-9, although I think the Steelers might be able to pull out a 9-8 to keep up that streak of 18 years with a winning record. The Browns 10-7 and the Ravens 14-3. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.